Hello, friends. Do you think the underground and the metro are the same thing? The point isn't in the words, but in the fact that the underground is a technical underground transport artery, while the metro is palaces in the dungeons of Moscow and St. Petersburg. Yes, palaces. Light, marble, granite, wall decorations, clean air, quiet electric trains. Today, we'll ponder a strange question. Who built the Moscow Metro? Young enthusiasts in the 1930s, 10 years after the devastating Civil War? See for yourself. Summer 1931. The plenum of the Central Committee of the Communist Party decides to build a metro in Moscow. And then, spring 1935. Victory. The grand opening of the first line. 13 stations, 11.2 kilometers of tunnels. Less than 4 years from the decision to the launch. And if you look closely, active construction lasted only 2.5 years. The project's director, Lazar Koganovich, a loyal ally of Stalin's, had no engineering training. The British specialists they had brought in were, for some reason, sidelined. Just as the initial plan for a high-altitude metro went to hell, and the opportunistic leaders decided to go deep underground, beneath Moscow, under the Neglinka River. And they won. They won! The country was proud. They launched the first line a couple of years later. What's the question, the viewer might ask? 12 stations, 12 kilometers underground. Sounds quite decent, but what if we do the math? The volume of excavated soil from the first stage, according to official figures, was approximately 2.3 million cubic meters. How much could fit in the back of a truck back then? 3 to 5 cubic meters, no more. So the soil was hauled in 500,000 or even 1 million trucks, or rather, trips. And how was this soil transported to the loading site? In simple wheelbarrows, manual labor. How many wheelbarrows did it take? If a wheelbarrow holds 1/4 of a cubic meter, that's it. Divide 2.3 million cubic meters by 0.25 and you get 10 million wheelbarrows. And what did miners use back then? Picks, crowbars, shovels, and jackhammers were rare and expensive. Did they manage it manually? Let's be realistic. The so-called tunneling shield, or worm, the cutting-edge technology of the time, had its own speed limit. The fastest speed is 1.2 kilometers in 6 months. This means that this distance could be dug underground in 5 years.
Nothing faster. 5 years. And our enthusiasts, without shields, completed this entire distance in 2.5 years. How? With prayer? We see incredible speeds, and this is only the first part of the work, the excavation. The main work began later. The vaults were reinforced either with supports or with tubing, special structures with complex profiles, which were later filled with concrete. Let's think about it. How many workers are needed to produce concrete? After all, it was delivered to the pouring site on time. Later, the concrete loses its properties. And the concrete here is not just high quality. No, it's superb. Excellent. Note, here's another important fact. The first stage tunnels are assembled from cast iron tubing, curved segments that are pulled together into rings, and these rings form the cylindrical profile of the tunnel. Each tubing weighs between 500 and 800 kilograms. A crew of workers couldn't load this. And for 11 kilometers of tunnels, tens of thousands of such segments are needed. Tens of thousands, made of cast iron. And our elements need to be precision made. A few millimeters of gap and the concrete will leak, lose its density. In short, it's a defect with dire consequences. The question is, who cast these tubings? Who delivered them? Where from?
Add one more question. Marble. Between 15,000 and 22,000 slabs of marble were used to decorate 13 stations. That's hundreds of tons of stone. Where did it come from? The nearest deposits are 1,500 kilometers away. In a country undergoing industrialization, where every train car is loaded with coal, metal, machine tools, and grain, thousands of tons of decorative stone are transported across half the country to decorate underground stations. Think about it. For decoration, aren't simple ceramic tiles enough? Why such excess in a country that was still huddled in barracks, communal kitchens, and communal toilets? Now let's touch on the issue of waterproofing. Moscow stands on damp, aquiferous soil. The Neglinya River, diverted into a sewer, flows above the first stage of the route. Groundwater pressure begins at a depth of 20 meters. Any builder knows how complex waterproofing can be, requiring specialized materials, rolled insulation, bitumen mastics, and drainage systems. And here, concrete in damp soil lasts for 90 years. What materials were used to achieve such waterproofing in 1932? Was it all heroism and enthusiasm again? Let's take a sober look again. What journalistic reports do we have left? After all this, the pouring of concrete, the tubing, the marble decorations, all these were enormous accomplishments for a country that had survived the years of famine and needed everything, literally everything.
Apartments, furniture, clothing, food, everything was in great demand. And here we have palaces with 15-ton columns being built under the river at a depth of 30 meters. And not a single photo? Not a single photo? Except for a couple of propaganda photos taken purely for show to say everything was going according to plan. You'll agree, these are all strange questions, answered by official history in silence. Now let's look specifically at Kropotkinskaya Station, or the Palace of Soviets. There are 46 columns here, each 4 meters high, tapering toward the top. The columns are faced with white marble. The capitals are perfect, and each one has a built-in light fixture. The light is evenly distributed across the ceiling without a single harsh shadow. Everything is done to perfection, as if designed by modern lighting technicians. And we're told that this was all done by eye, purely at random? In short, there are a ton of questions. And the answer, there's only one answer. The metro is an ancient antediluvian communication system that existed underground long before the metro's builders, long before the decision was made to build all this beauty. And our Komsomol members could only have accomplished all this if they weren't building the metro, but reconstructing existing underground arteries. Even then, their efforts are a source of pride. They did it. They got through it. They did it. They've improved it. They've cleaned it, washed it, decorated it, and put the trains in operation. And on what basis are you talking about all this nonsense? A skeptic might ask. I have one final argument for that, the icing on the cake. Look, this is how metro stations are connected to old churches. For example, here's the Chistya Prudi station. As we can see from the photograph, the Church of Saints Floris and Loris stood where the metro's ventilation manifold used to be. The next station is Lubyanka, where the church and bell tower of the Vladimir icon of the Mother of God were demolished in 1932, as if on cue just before the construction date. Next, the chapel of the great martyr Pantelimon the Healer at the Nikolsky Gate, built in 1881, was demolished, and now we have another metro station, Ochotny Ryad. What other churches were demolished to make way for stations at these locations? The Church of St. Paraskeva Pyatnitsa. Kropotkinskaya was built on the site of the Cathedral of Christ the Savior. Do you get the idea? Yes, this statement is based on facts. The Moscow Metro was built only after people learned about the existence of underground passages, the entrances to which were used by wise monks or clergy. Hence the incomprehensible serpentine excavation of the first line. It's easier to build in a straight line, after all. Hence the depth differences, from 8 to 33 meters. Hence the answer to the question, how did our enthusiasts
solve the complex waterproofing issues? Where did they get the marble without having enough ordinary tiles? And why there are no construction documents? Everything becomes clear. Heroes remain heroes, but they didn't create the metro. They merely restored someone else's utilities. There's an impossible speed, impossible technology, impossible stone decoration, and even the structures themselves. It's impossible to calculate all this on a whim, yet what's built has stood for over 90 years, while simple 5-story buildings built in the Soviet Union are already crumbling. Add to that the logistics. All of this was somehow delivered to the construction site, and everything excavated was hauled away, and there are almost no photographs of this work. No documents, no drawings. No, this is blatant nonsense. Compare this with global experience. The London Underground was built from 1860 to 1935, a total of 75 years, and consists of primitive brick tunnels. The New York subway, opened in 1904, took 4 years to build, but its stations are bare concrete, unfinished. The Paris metro, white tiles and cast iron structures. And suddenly Moscow, devastated by revolution, civil war and famine, in 4 years creates an underground system that surpasses everything the world had built in the previous 75 years in complexity, quality, and durability. Because Stalin was a great leader and free people are capable of great deeds? You must admit, it's easier to believe that we know too little about our past, and great discoveries still await us. All the best, friends.